Hi, welcome to Lachlan Likes a Thing, a show where I take a thing and see whether or not I like it. Now, to all my regular subscribers, I hope you guys are coming back from an absolutely fantastic holiday and your batteries are recharged. I had a pretty good holiday myself. It's summer now in Australia, and with a lot of people planning trips to the beach, I thought now would be a good time to have a look at this thing. This is the TDK A33 wireless weatherproof speaker. This is a pretty well rated unit over at Amazon, and I believe it won a recommendation at Consumer Reports in the US. And I bought it on those recommendations, and I just wanted to add to what's out there with my own impressions of this cool little device. In this video, we're going to look at the design and the build quality of the A33. We're going to look at the usability, and then we're going to have a listen to the sound quality of this portable speaker. Now, I got this at JB Hi-Fi, an electronics retailer in Australia, for $116. So it's one of those rare instances where I got something on sale in Australia for cheaper than it is in America on Amazon. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to get it at this price. I think I got a pretty good deal, but for $116, I had to say I'm seriously impressed. Now, we don't hear that much about TDK these days, but I think they've been making portable speakers for quite a while. And I think the A33 in particular has a pretty impressive design. It looks really sturdy, it's quite attractive and quite simple. I quite like the way this machine looks. In terms of weight, this unit actually has quite a lot of heft to it. It's about apparently 1.27 kilograms heavy, which is the weight of some small laptops. So it's certainly not going to just disappear in your bag. But to me, I think the weight is a good sign because this whole thing is packed full of speaker drivers, which I'll get to in a second. Now, this unit is weatherproofed, and so you can see here the buttons are weather sealed, and then we have flaps for all the ports, just for some extra weatherproofing. It's IP64 rated. Now, what that means is that it's got a number 6 rating for dust protection, so it's got the highest rating for dust proofing. Apparently it can take sand and dust and no problems there. And it's got a number 4 rating for water ingress. And that means that it can be splashed with water with no problems. You cannot submerge this unit in water. It's not waterproof, and you're not supposed to run it under a tap. But I can confirm I've used this by the poolside. You can splash water on it with no problems because the water cannot get through the grill. The surface tension on the water is not enough to go through these little holes. So that's pretty cool. In terms of feature set and usability, this is a wireless speaker and it uses wireless Bluetooth to connect to your smartphone or your computer or whatever else has Bluetooth. And so in terms of Bluetooth protocol, it uses Bluetooth version 2.1 with the A2DP protocol. So it's nothing fancy. It's not Bluetooth version 3 or 4. It's not aptX protocol or anything like that. So it's not the highest quality in terms of audio, wireless audio transmission. But I think for the purposes of this kind of device, it's no big deal. Besides Bluetooth connections, we actually have on the side a number of different ports. So we have the on-off switch here, which is a really useful touch because it means that it can't inadvertently turn on in your bag if you put it on the off position. We have the AC input here, and we also have an auxiliary input, so you can just connect a standard 3.5mm mini jack cable to this and just use it like a normal speaker. But please note that if you have the flap open, it's obviously going to be vulnerable to water ingress. Now, it actually apparently has an inbuilt microphone as well. So if you get a call on your smartphone while it's connected, you can just press the call button and you can use this as a speakerphone. I haven't actually tried this out myself, but apparently it's quite useful. Some people do use it for speakerphone calls. It's got a little integrated kickstand on the bottom, so it just helps you tilt the sound up just a little when you put it on a surface. In terms of battery life, it's rated for 6 hours. Now, I can't confirm that myself. I haven't played it for 6 hours straight, but it hasn't let me down yet, and I've read no real complaints on the user reviews. So wireless pairing on the A33 works pretty much like any other Bluetooth device. You can connect it to anything that has Bluetooth, like a smartphone or a computer. And once you set it up, basically it remembers a single paired device. I don't think you can connect multiple devices just to avoid confusion. Basically, once it's set up, it's pretty seamless. So let's say I'm playing a song on my smartphone here and the Bluetooth is turned on here. All I need to do is press the power button on the A33 and then it will establish the connection. After a few moments, it makes a little beep noise and then it starts playing on the A33. So there we go. It starts pretty seamless. Now, one unfortunate thing is that playback is controlled on the device and not the A33 because there are no play or skip track or any buttons like that on the A33 itself. And this is unfortunate because if you've got wet hands or something like that, unfortunately, you're still going to have to use your phone to skip a track or anything like that. Now, you can control volume both on the device and the volume buttons here, and there's a light up volume indicator here, which is quite useful. In terms of the actual connection strength, it's quite a long distance, I would say about 10 to 15 meters I've found in my experience before the sound starts cutting off. So you can put your smartphone in a kind of safe place away from water or sand and have this connected. It's not going to go through walls, I've found. Like I can't get this to play while the smartphone is upstairs and the A33 is downstairs. But it's quite a long distance and more than enough for most situations. Now, one big issue that I have encountered with the A33 is that on very hot days under direct sunlight, the A33 will occasionally cut off during sound playback. And I think that's a thermal protection circuit kicking in just to prevent the unit from overheating. And while that's understandable, I guess it gets quite hot during summer in Australia. It's a little disappointing for a unit that's designed to be completely weatherproof. Now let's move on to sound quality, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some general comments about the sound and then I'm going to show you what the A33 sounds like through the microphone. Now the A33, as I mentioned before, is packed full of quite a number of drivers. So we have two 1.5 inch full range drivers here and then apparently a 2.5 inch subwoofer driver here, if you can call a 2.5 inch driver a subwoofer. And then we have two 3-inch passive radiators on the back. And what a passive radiator is it's basically a speaker driver diaphragm without a magnet. So it's completely passive, but it exists just to increase the overall efficiency of the sound. Now, I have to say, despite my comments earlier about the 2.5 inch sub, this unit actually packs a huge punch, and I'm actually incredibly impressed by the richness of the sound out of this thing, you know, for the size and the price of this unit. Now, a lot of the Amazon reviews I've read have compared this to all kinds of portable speakers from Bose and those other kind of companies, Logitech, etc., etc. I haven't made a direct comparison myself, but I'm actually quite impressed. The highs are somewhat rolled off on the sound of these, so it's got a very chunky, kind of bass-rich sound, somewhat mid-band heavy, so it sounds like a pair of Shure SE215s if you have a pair of earphones to compare to, or compared to, in the world of headphones, the V-Motor M80s. So it's that kind of gutsy, bassy kind of sound, but it's not completely unbalanced, it's just quite rich. And you know, it certainly goes up very, very loud for a unit of this size. So it will easily fill a room. It could do party duties somewhat reasonably well, though if you go too high, there is a bit of a protection circuit to prevent you from completely destroying the drivers. In terms of stereo separation, it is a small unit, so you're not going to get a huge kind of stereo image being projected out of this, but you know, it's pretty decent for what it is. Now we'll move on to some audio tests, and the first test I'm going to show you is the performance of the A33 on a low frequency 0 to 200 Hertz test from audiocheck.net, which is a really cool website, and I've linked it over in the description of this video. There's all sorts of test tones over there. What this test is it basically runs through the frequencies from 0 to 200 Hertz with a voiceover, and it lets you know the kind of bass performance of any kind of speaker. Now keep in mind, this is coming through a microphone that isn't necessarily going to pick up all low frequency sounds, so it's not going to give you a fantastic idea of what this unit actually sounds like, but I think you'll find that the sound is actually, the result rather, is pretty impressive for this unit.
10 hertz, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200.
So as you heard, the sound kicks in at about 60 hertz in terms of low frequencies, which is actually really, really impressive. Now remember, the limit of human hearing is 20 hertz. These giant desktop speakers I have behind me actually kick in at about 50 hertz. So for this unit to produce 60 hertz with a relatively clean tone and no kind of audible distortion or shuddering from the chassis, that's really impressive. Now there's a peak at about 120, 130 hertz that you can hear, and that really contributes to this really thick, throaty sound that comes out of this unit. So yeah, pretty impressive for the low frequency test. Now I'll just play a bit of a test track, the same thing that I played for the New Force Cube in my earlier video, and you can just have a listen to how it sounds on that track. So again, I don't know if you heard it through the microphone, but I'm seriously quite impressed by the actual quality of sound produced by this unit. It's not the most high fidelity in terms of high frequency performance, but for a unit that is just meant to be a little portable speaker, I'm very, very impressed. And especially considering the build quality and the kind of good value price of this unit, I think if you're looking for a wireless portable speaker, you really cannot go past the A33. So the A33 from TDK is something that I like. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please click the like button if you found this video helpful, and subscribe to my channel for more reviews of audio gear and other technology. Thanks to all my regular subscribers. I'm looking forward to your comments. You can talk to me on Facebook at facebook.com/LachlanLikesAthing, or over at Twitter at LachLikesAthing. Anyway, happy listening.